Y'all please forgive me. I did not know it's been 2 weeks since my last video. Like, time just flies. I had no idea until I was looking in my, my stuff, and it was talking about some 2 weeks since my last video. Like, dang, I'm slipping. I was on a roll here. So anyway, to catch up on my personal life for a little second, I still have that cough going on. Like, I had a cold. It's been going on for like 3 weeks. So I'm going to go to the doctor this week and see if I can get some antibiotics, because I obviously probably have some kind of infection going on in my chest, or mucus membranes or whatever. But anyway, other than that, I've been all right. And as you can see, my hair is in its shrinkage mode. That's what happens when you do those little curl defining products. It looks good while it's wet or whatever, and then it shrinks. Like, you can still see my little curls and what have, but that's why it's like that. I didn't cut my hair, it's just shrunk down. Okay, so I was scrolling, just scrolling. Amazon Prime, again, is one of those that I don't watch that often, but whenever I do hop on there, I see a lot of interesting things, right? So I ran across this movie called Skin, and I read the little info about it, and it's about this guy. He's a white supremacist. He's been in that since he was like an early teen. He got adopted by a white supremacist, and he grew up in it. That was his family. That was his life. And basically in the movie, he decides to change that. He meets a woman who, she had a past as a white supremacist as well, but she was done with it. He decided to be done with it. So throughout the movie, it's pretty much him trying to run away from his family. They antagonize him, intimidate him. He has taken on this family. He ends up marrying the woman. She has 3 children, and then they later on have a son, right? So this is one of those movies that reminds me of in the 90s, when, I don't really like to say low budget, because there's a certain thought that comes when you hear low budget. You think of like bad acting, horrible production. But low budget just means you're not backed by a huge film company, right? That's my definition. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna use that term because you get what I'm saying. So anyway, it takes me back to the 90s, when I feel like low budget films were really just, it has that rawness to it that some Hollywood movies don't have. I think there's more of an artistic thing going on with it. It's more like art, right? And that's how I felt this movie was. It took me back to like the mid 90s, the 90s period, early, mid, late 90s, where you had movies like Girls Town, which is one of my favorites. It's a low budget movie. One with Angelina Jolie called Foxfire. You got these different ones. Kids is another one. And if you're squeamish, don't watch that. That's one of those one and done movies for me. If you've never seen Kids, Google it. Anyway, back to Skin. So that's what put me in mind frame of, and I love it. Like, I loved it from start to finish. So his name is Brian, spelled Bryon, because I kept thinking, I was like, am I looking at the right movie here? Brian Wilder. He has all these tattoos, white supremacist, Aryan, Nordic tattoos on his body, a lot on his face. So when he decides to change his life, this happened in the early, like, it was like 2011 when he finally got everything done off of his face. I don't know how it is with the workforce now, but I know tattoos all over the face, a lot of places are not trying to hire you, depending on the spot that you're trying to work at, right? So he had to go through, I think, like a year and a half of excruciating pain of getting tattoo removal surgery. I don't have any tattoos, but I have heard that the removal of a tattoo, it hurts even more than getting it. And I've seen people get tattoos and go into shock and pass out. So if it hurts more than that, honey, ugh, my heart goes out to them. So my thumbnail, it says, can a white supremacist be redeemed? I have a few different thoughts about this. I feel like you can be redeemed from that lifestyle. A lot of times when people take on ideologies, different ideologies, when they first, this has been my experience dealing with people that have different ideologies, whether it's a religion, cult, whatever. When they first get into it, they are extremely radical. I would name some folks, but I'm gonna leave that alone. But I don't care if it's something like you're a vegan now, or you go to this certain religion or whatever. It's like they are extremely, like, to the 10th power when it comes to that belief, right? And I notice when people are in that and they've been in it for a few years, oftentimes they calm down, right? So I do feel like a white supremacist can be redeemed. I will say this, though. I don't think I would trust them 100%. That's just me, call me prejudiced, but I can't see myself just being super cool buddies with someone that used to be in the Klan. I can, I don't even know I don't even know what I can say, that I'll do, but I don't know. But I do like to give people benefit of the doubt. I do feel like you can change. I'm just saying personally for me. So I find out at the end of this film that this was actually inspired by a true story. And when I showed the real Brian Wilder with, how do you say, it's Widener, I believe. When they showed the real Brian Widener, I was like, you know what? I think I do remember seeing him, probably on social media when he first got his tattoos removed. And I do want to mention someone else in this movie who was a big part in his transition of that. This black man named, y'all know how I don't really take notes, so I'm looking on my other phone right now. His real name is Darryl Lamont, who runs a program where he outs white supremacists. He puts their location up, and he changes them. The ones that he feel like that can be changed, right? And so he helped Brian get the funds to get this tattoo removal surgery, because like I said, he had so many, it was all on his face. You can actually Google Brian Widener, and I think now he's a respecting citizen. Him and his wife are still together, I believe. Like I said, they have a son. Now, this movie was inspired by it, so a lot of what happened in the movie probably didn't happen in real life. I know in the movie they made it seem, they had Daryl saying, hey, I'm going to change this guy, because he saw him in camera footage with some kind of riot, the white supremacist riot, right? Whereas in real life, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I read, was that they reached out to him after he decided himself that he wanted to change his life for the better, and reached out to this guy in his organization and help with the tattoo removal. And so, of course, it's one thing to have a certain ideology about things, but it's another thing to commit crimes where people are getting murdered. And so in the movie, they attacked this mosque, and there happened to be some Hispanic migrants who I think that were working on some kind of construction, who were sleeping in the mosque. Well, Brian, he was in that mode of I'm just not trying to live this life anymore. So he told them to sneak out the back. And basically they ended up catching him again, and they really wanted Brian to take part in this, even intimidating his family. So I think that I don't know if those particular things happen in real life, but he did get a lot of death threats, intimidation from other white supremacists in real life when they saw that he was leaving this community. And I'm gonna exit out with this. Whatever your belief is, if it's not hurting anybody, I'm cool with it. That's, you know. But overall, including stuff where you're not hurting anybody, you have to be careful to keep your own mind. I see people get so wrapped up into certain religions and thought processes that they become so self-righteous, they become judgmental. The people who consider themselves, what I'm seeing now in society, people that are considering themselves to be liberal, people that are considering themselves to be so open-minded are turning into the same people they despise. They're turning into the judgers. They're turning into the ones that are self-righteous and making other people feel like they're wrong for believing what they believe. So, hey, human race, let's just get it together, please. Because, you know, when I get old, I do want to see a change in the world. I'm in my 30s. 40 years from now, 50 years from now, God willing, if I'm still here, I do want to see some kind of change in humanity for the better. All right, I'm going to hop off of here, y'all. Peace and blessing as always. Shout out to my 55 subscribers. Also, shout out to the people that are watching this that are not subscribed. You can subscribe. Girl, boy, go ahead and just press that button. Until next time, y'all.